Hello, everyone. I'm Samantha Chang, and I'm doing my micro presentation on a specific fungus called Mycena haematopus. Now, heading into the first slide, I just listed out some information that helps you classify what makes this species different from others, and which it comes from the kingdom, obviously fungi, and its genus is Mycena. A little bit more information about Mycena is that it's a large genus of sapotrophic mushrooms, and these are rarely ever more than a few centimeters in width. And they come from the family Mycenaceae. They have about 600 small species around the world, and they are known to be very incredibly tiny. Mycena haematopus obtains nutrients from decomposing organic matter, and the fruit bodies can typically be found growing on stumps and well-decayed logs, usually in groups that are joined together by a common base. They are also known as a late colonizer fungus because its fruit bodies appear after the wood has been decayed by a white rot species. This fungus has the nickname known as bleeding mycena. And the reason why is because it's referencing to its blood-like liquid latex that comes from the broken stems of the fungus. And the amount of latex that comes out varies between each mushroom because it depends on the freshness and age of the mushroom, as well as how dry the substrate is. Haematopus stems from ancient Greek, in which hemato means blood and pus means foot or leg. Once again, goes back to its special unique feature, as you can see with the latex seeping onto the person's finger here on the picture. Like referenced in the last slide, it grows on in clusters on deadwood of hardwoods, and it also is found in mainland Europe, Asia, and North America. What I think is so unique about this specific fungus is that it can have this strikingly hairy appearance. And the reason why is because the fruiting bodies are often a rich resource of microfungi, and the fragile fruiting bodies of Mycena are particularly vulnerable to attack. With that being said, it can be infested with parasites from another fungal species, in which it gives the mushroom this specific appearance. However, this is actually from the sporangiophores of Finellus. The sporangia, which bear the asexual spores internally, are borne on in the tips of the sporangiophores. Like all good and efficient parasites, the Spinellus does not kill its host, nor does it affect all the members of a population, because the parasite wants to keep the host alive so it can continue to feast on it or its offspring in the future. Now, heading into its specific structure, as you can see, this has a cap where it's 1 to 4 centimeters long. They're usually oval or bell-shaped. They have a dry and dusted appearance, but as they grow older, it becomes more bald and tacky, and it fades to a gray-pink color. For their gills, they are attached nearly to the stem and are stained reddish-brown color. Their stem is 4 to 7 centimeters long, has no ring, usually is hollow, and is filled with blood red liquid. And the spores are usually very small, white, and smooth. Heading into its reproduction, fungus, as you know, usually exists underground or in rotting wood as mycelium, digesting and decomposing rotting material. And mycelium is a network of fungal thread cells. So when it's time for reproduction, mycelium sends the mushroom up, which goes to its reproductive structure, where spores are able to be produced in gills and released to begin new mycelia. And mycelium of mushroom can actually live up to decades. So here are some fun facts about this specific fungus. They actually do not cause any diseases, which is great. However, and they actually are edible as well. However, although they are edible, it is usually not recommended because it is poor quality. They usually taste bitter and have no nutritional benefit, especially because of how tiny they are. And a really, really fun fact is that they are actually bioluminescent. They co-evolved with insects that attract light, and it is actually caused by enzymes that produce light by the oxidation of luciferin. So the mushroom spores attach to the insect, and the insect acts as a vehicle for spore dispersal, making it more efficient rather than in natural environments being able to efficiently disperse the spores. And here are a list of references that helped me accumulate this presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something new. Thank you.